This is a show with no particular niche. Baby, it's always about hanging out. Maybe we'll laugh at some stuff, maybe we'll learn something new, but it's always about hanging out. Me and you. Hi, hello, and welcome. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to That Thing with James, a podcast about nothing in particular. I'm your host, James. Hi, this is my thing. What's up? Let's hang out and let's learn about something I've wanted to cover for a while now. Chi Minh? Yeah. So, maybe some months ago I heard that, I was surprised to learn that Ho Chi Minh, hopefully you know who he is. If you don't, by the end of this episode you will, lived all around the world. He lived in many places, and he may have even been a sous chef to Escoffier. He may have worked on a ferry. He may have spent some time in the United States. And if you know who Ho Chi Minh is but didn't know these things, that may come as a surprise to you. It came as a surprise to me. So I've wanted to cover this, just sort of his bio for a while. Because I didn't know much of anything. I certainly didn't learn about Ho Chi Minh in high school. No fucking way. We didn't even get to the Vietnam War in history class in high school. I had to learn that stuff on my own. Initially, from what I saw in movies. I mean, my favorite movie is Apocalypse Now, but I wouldn't describe that as a historical movie at all. I would describe that necessarily, not unnecessarily, necessarily, I would describe that as an adaptation of classical literature. So, yeah, today we're going to learn about Ho Chi Minh, a.k.a. Uncle Ho, a.k.a. he's got all sorts of aliases. And I've got some different articles pulled up, and I landed on one that appears in a strange turn of events. I actually read the articles ahead of time, except for this one that I landed on that I'm skimming over, that seems to cover things that some did and some didn't. So this seems to be like the happy medium bio. Yeah. So we're going to get into that. But first, real quick, business. If you like this show, if you've been watching it for a while and you would like to see more of it, I have over 100 bonus episodes on my Patreon at patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. Let me try that again with some breath. Patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. To those of you who are already patrons, thank you so much. You rock. And if you are interested in becoming a patron, you will get the peace of mind of helping to support an independent artiste, an independent show with no commercials. And in return, you will get access to, over 100 bonus episodes. Bare minimum entry is $5. There's different tiers that offer additional perks, but if you want to help support the show and get something in return, you can do so by becoming a member today at patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. The link is written in the episode description, right above all the links to my socials, subreddit, and show email. So, I've been suffering a rather intense bout of logorrhea. I'm going to try to keep this episode short now because I've got a movie to catch. I'm going to go see Mickey 17, starring Robert Pattinson, who I enjoy watching and learning things about. He's seems like a interesting character, but like for the right kind of reasons. Like a weird guy, but a good weird, which is a sweet relief. He doesn't seem like a Diddy type. And the movie's also directed by one of my favorite current directors, Bong Joon-ho. I'm going to try to keep this episode tight so I have time to get ready for the movie. Let me take a sip of coffee, and then we will get right to it in just a second. Beep. This article is on digitalarchive.wilsoncenter.org. I don't know what the Wilson Center is. Maybe people are going to make fun of me. Oh, you've never heard of the Wilson Center? Are you living under a rock? Partially. But I don't know what the Wilson Center is about. And one of the things I have taken into account while looking up these articles is bias. And I was surprised to see the PBS article I found was rather just neutral and informative. I did expect a anti-communist tilt to it, but I didn't see one. So the reason I say I don't know what Wilson Center is about is because, well, this is the one article I've only skimmed over and didn't read in full. Of course, I'm using this one. So I don't know what kind of tilt this is going to have, or if this is going to be, strictly informative. But without further ado, here it is. Ho Chi Minh, lived 1890. He was a lot older than I expected. Born 1890, died in 1969. That's a long time. Dude he was old. And he was making some big moves throughout his life, as we will find out. It says here, Ho Chi Minh was president of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam from 1945 to 1969. He was the founder and leader of the Vietnamese Communist Movement. Biography. Here we go. Ho Chi Minh, founder and leader of the Vietnamese Communist Movement and president of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam from 1945 until his death in 1969. He was born Nguyen. I always mess this name up. Nguyen. And I've tried to look up, what's the proper way to pronounce it? And I've seen 3 different ways to pronounce it, pitched as the one proper way to pronounce it. So, Nguyen, I don't fucking know. We're going to go with Nguyen. Yeah. He was born Nguyen Sinh Cuong. I don't speak Vietnamese, even though I record this in Oklahoma. I record this out of Tulsa. Vietnamese is the 3rd largest spoken language in the state, and I don't speak the language, unfortunately. And it's one of those, is Vietnamese tonal? I know Thai's tonal. Chinese is tonal. Is Vietnamese tonal? Probably. So if I get these pronunciations wrong, don't hang me, please. Just, kindly correct me in the comments somewhere on YouTube. Audio listeners, this is on YouTube. You can see my face, my pretty visage. You look up That Thing with James, my channel will pop up, and then you can subscribe and like all the videos and share with everyone, except for Nazis, because they tried to take down my, anti-fascist videos. Anyway, derailed. I told you I've been suffering. It's early. I'm recording this earlier than usual. I'm suffering logorrhea, so I got to keep it tight. Got to lock in. He was born Nguyen Sinh Cuong on 19 May 1890 in Nha An province in central Vietnam. After receiving his initial education from his father and at a village school, Ho studied at the Lycée Quoc Hoc in the old imperial capital of Hue. It was a school designed to perpetuate Vietnamese nationalist traditions. In 1912, he went to France, where he worked at many odd jobs. So he went to France. Mind you, the French had colonized Vietnam, okay? So that's something to keep in mind in case you didn't know. And he went to France in 1912, where he worked at many odd jobs and became active in socialist politics and as an advocate of Indo-Chinese independence. During World War I, dude's that old. During World War I, he visited the United States. What? The Vietnamese devil that the fucking Americans went to liberate those poor Vietnamese from to stop the domino effect spread of communism, started the American war of aggression against Vietnam. He visited the United States in World War I. Wow, didn't know that before. At the Versailles Peace Conference, he petitioned the delegates on behalf of Vietnamese self-determination, but was ignored. In 1920, Ho became a founding member of the French Communist Party. What? If you know about communist history, that was a big deal in France. And that he was one of the founding members is impressive. And it makes sense to me that, of course, it would be founded by someone who comes from one of France's colonies. How about that? Makes a lot of sense. After spending several years at sea, Ho settled in London. Well, yeah, he lived in England. He settled in London during World War I. There, he worked in a restaurant and was first exposed to Marxist ideas. Moving to Paris, bro was a globe-trotter, he adopted the pseudonym Nguyen Ai Quoc, Win the Patriot, and first came to public attention when he presented a petition to the Versailles Peace Conference demanding independence for Vietnam in accordance with the principle of self-determination. He also, because active, what I think they mean became, this is not written that great, sorry. He also became, let's say it's became active in radical circles in 1920, becoming a founding member of the French Communist Party. During the next 3 years, he worked actively among radical exile groups. See, this is where I'm starting to wonder, what's Wilson Center about? They're using the term radical. That's a term that can be used to discredit liberation movements. Okay? So I may end up abandoning this article because I'm looking for level, not tilt. Where was I? During the next 3 years, he worked actively among radical exile groups from the colonies who were living in France, participating in intercolonial union formed under communist sponsorship and publishing an anti-colonial journal, La Pariah, or The Pariah. He went to Moscow. Yeah, in 1922. Yeah. He joined the Comintern and met with Lenin. He met Lenin. In 1925, he went to China to work for the Soviet mission with Chiang Kai-shek's government. After Chiang turned on the communists in 1927, Ho fled to Moscow. During the 1930s, he founded the Indo-Chinese Communist Party, studied in Moscow, and fought alongside Mao. Yeah. Dude had an exciting life. In 1940, he returned to Vietnam. He founded the Viet Minh, the League for Independence of Vietnam. In 1923, Ho was summoned to Moscow, where he studied Marxist doctrine and worked at Comintern headquarters, already identified as a vigorous spokesman for the anti-colonial cause. He served as a delegate with the Peasant International and urged the Communist International to take the lead in promoting revolution in Asia. In late 1924, he was sent to Canton as an interpreter for the Comintern mission to revolutionary government of Sun Yat-sen. His real assignment was to establish a communist movement in French Indochina. Within months, Ho recruited radical Vietnamese patriots living in exile in South China into a new revolutionary organization, the Vietnam Revolutionary Youth League. In conformity with prevailing Leninist theory and Ho's own proclivities, the League's program combined social revolution with nationalism and soon became a leading force within patriotic circles in Vietnam. In the spring of 1927, Ho was forced to leave Canton because of Chiang Kai-shek's crackdown on local communists. He spent the next 3 years in Europe and in Siam, where he recruited within the Vietnamese exile community living in the provinces. In early 1930, he returned to South China to resolve a factional squabble within the League and, at the meeting held in Hong Kong, presided over the formation of a formal Communist Party. He remained in Hong Kong as liaison officer for the Comintern's Far Eastern Bureau and was imprisoned by the British authorities in 1931. Released in 1933, 2 years in the clink, damn. As a result of pleas by British civil rights organization, he went to Moscow and spent the next several years in the Soviet Union, reportedly recovering from tuberculosis. So he contracted tuberculosis in the prison. There were rumors that he was in Stalin's disfavor because of his nationalist views, but in August 1935, he attended the 7th Comintern Congress. Oh, is Comintern supposed to be Communist International? Probably. I've said it so many times, I have no idea what it was, and now it just clicked. Okay. In 1938, Ho went to China. I wonder if this is going to talk about him working on a ferry in England and also possibly being a sous chef to Escoffier. I don't know. You know what? I got to pee. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. That was that was refreshing. On we read. In 1938, Ho went to China, where he briefly visited Chinese Communist headquarters in Yan'an, and then served as a guerrilla training instructor, as in, guerrilla warfare, not the great apes, the other kind of guerrillas. He was a Jane fucking, what's her name? The gorilla woman? Gorilla woman name. Diane Fossey. Yeah, Diane Fossey. I thought it was Jane something. I'm looking this up. Gorilla Jane. Goodall? Jane Goodall? Is that who I'm thinking of? Jane Goodall. Yeah. No, he wasn't the Vietnamese Jane Goodall. He was a different kind of gorilla. Like, the Cuban type of gorilla. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, man? In 1938, Ho went to China, where he briefly visited Chinese Communist headquarters in Yan'an and then served as a guerrilla training instructor in central China. In the summer of 1940, with war approaching, he returned to South China and established contact with leading members of the Indo-Chinese Communist Party. The following May, with most of Vietnam under Japanese occupation, God, the Japanese just really wanted to occupy all of East Asia. So kawaii. With most of Vietnam under Japanese occupation, he chaired a meeting of the Central Committee just inside the Vietnamese border. It announced the formation of the League for Independence of Vietnam, or Viet Minh for short. A new front organized under party leadership to seek independence from French rule and Japanese military occupation. God, they could not keep it in their pants. During the next few years, interrupted by another stint in a Chinese prison, Ho led the party in seeking popular support for the Viet Minh Front and building up its guerrilla forces for an uprising at the close of the war. In August 1945, the dude is old. 1945, born in 1890, so he would have been, 55 years old at this point? Dude was old and making moves. See, you too it's never too late for you to pursue a new career. You might be a late bloomer. Life does not travel in a straight path. Don't let your dreams be dreams. You too can help start a revolution at the age of, you could start a revolution as an octogenarian. Hell, look at America right now. There's yet another fascist uprising by a bunch of octogenarians and their 40-year-old bald-headed white thralls. Oh boy, I hate to fucking see it. Let's keep reading. In August 1945, Viet Minh forces launched an insurrection to seize power throughout Vietnam. Hanoi was occupied with little resistance, and in early September, a Democratic Republic of Vietnam was created, with Ho Chi Minh in his first public use of the name as president. For the next several months, Ho attempted to broaden the popular base of the new government while seeking a negotiated settlement with France. Politically astute and conciliatory, he managed to reduce the distrust of rival nationalist leaders and reached an agreement on a coalition cabinet at the end of the year. Persuasive man. Early in 1946, a National Assembly was elected and confirmed him as president. In the meantime, protracted negotiations with the French representative in Indochina resulted in a preliminary agreement calling for the creation of a Vietnamese quote-unquote free state with the French Union. Both achievements, however, were short-lived. In the summer of 1946, the tenuous alliance between the Viet Minh and the Nationalists broke down, and the latter were driven out of the government. Meanwhile, negotiations with the French floundered? Is it foundered or floundered? I always thought it was floundering. Perhaps I'm an ignoramus for thinking that, when they retreated from the terms of the preliminary agreement. Of course, the French fucking occupiers are not going to fucking agree to shit. What do you think? It's colonizers. This is what happens. Where was I? In September, despite the misgivings of party colleagues, Ho signed a modus vivendi in Paris, but on his return to Hanoi, tensions between the Vietnamese and the French forces escalated, and in December, war broke out. On September 2nd, 1945, Ho and his league declared Vietnamese independence. When the French colonial rulers tried to reassert their authority, Ho settled for nominal autonomy as a member of the French Union. The French-Vietnamese truce broke in late 1946, initiating a war that ended in 1954. That's a long time. With the Vietnamese victory at Dien Bien Phu. At the following Geneva conference, Ho allowed his Chinese and Soviet friends to pressure him into a highly unsatisfactory compromise that divided Vietnam in two. From that time, Ho's primary goal was the reunification of Vietnam He pursued this particularly through supporting the Viet Cong guerrillas fighting the Southern government. Even though South Vietnam received ever-increasing support from the United States, which after 1964 began to bomb the North, Ho remained confident of victory and rejected negotiations with Washington. Good for him, because he had compromised. There's only so much compromise you can offer, and to get the compromise thrown back in your face, there's only so many times you can compromise before you stop compromising with people unwilling to work with you. There's only so far you can go where you're left with two options, fight or bend over. And he decided to fight. And I say good for him. Where was I? Ho remained confident of victory and rejected negotiations with Washington. Only in 1968, after the U.S. bombardments of North Vietnam stopped in the wake of the Tet Offensive, did his government agree to talks. Shortly after this turning point in the war, Ho died of a heart attack at the age of 79 on September 3rd, 1969. Man was in his 70s, almost 80, a year shy of 80, helping fight the massive new imperial force in the world. It's amazing what they achieved, the Vietnamese. It's amazing. During the next several years, Viet Minh forces retreated to the hills and fought against French forces in the lowlands. By 1954, man, this article's jumping all over. It is not chronological, but nothing I can do about it at this point. I've committed to this article. By 1954, the French had wearied of the war and sought a negotiated settlement. Once again, militant elements in the party resisted a compromise, but Ho used his formidable influence to gain the approval of his colleagues, and in July, an agreement was reached calling for a truce and a temporary division of Vietnam into a communist North and non-communist South. Whoever arranged this article, why did you not do this chronologically? Because this does not make sense. You just ended the American War, and now you're going back to before it, to dealings with the French? I guess we're back in 1954, where Ho Chi Minh remained president of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam and chairman of the party, but gradually turned over day-to-day responsibilities to trusted lieutenants such as Pham Van Dong, Trong Xin, and Le Duong. He played a symbolic role as head of state and as a mediator of party disputes, and was active on the international scene, where he promoted Vietnamese national interests within the socialist bloc and attempted to prevent the widening split between Moscow and Beijing. Convinced of the importance of Soviet friendship, he was also sensitive to the brooding presence of China and attempted to maintain cordial relations with the leaders of both communist states. During the 1960s, he appeared to decline in health, and his role was reduced to occasional public appearances. He died of an apparent heart attack on 3rd September 1969 at the age of 79. Ho Chi Minh's importance to modern Vietnam can hardly be exaggerated. He was not only the founder of the Communist Party, but also its recognized leader during most of its first half-century of existence. He provided it with ideological guidance, international prestige, a tradition of internal unity, and a sense of realism that on many occasions enabled it to triumph over adversity. Today, he remains the symbol of the nation. His memory is enshrined in a mausoleum in Hanoi, and in a new name for Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. Now, there was a BBC article that caught my fancy. I'm going to pull it up as like a little slightly humorous capstone. Maybe it's funny. Give me a second. This article is presented on BBC.com, published 1 September 2015. It's 10 years old. Title, New Haven Ho Chi Minh Monument Divides Town. Plans for a monument celebrating cultural links with Vietnam and its former communist leader Ho Chi Minh have divided an East Sussex, almost said Essex, East Sussex town. A competition is being held to design the monument for New Haven, where Ho Chi Minh was a visitor when he worked as a chef on the New Haven Dieppe ferry. I told ye. He worked. Dude had a globe-trotter life. Local MP Maria Caulfield has protested. Oh, Maria. I bet you're just a disappointment all around. Local MP Maria Caulfield has protested that residents want the money to be spent elsewhere in the town, but the town council said it was keen to foster links with Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh worked on the ferry following World War I, and its museum was given a statue of him by the Vietnamese embassy in 2013. Ambassador Nguyen Van Tao launched the monument competition in April, open to students at the University of Sussex and West Dean College in Chichester. I'm sure it's pronounced Chichester. Ms. Caulfield said, oh God, what a Karen, said that she had received letters and emails from constituents who do not think Ho Chi Minh was the best role model. Lots of shops have closed in the high street and there is no bank left, said the Conservative MP for Lewes. We are desperately trying to regenerate, and I am not sure that this is the best use of money that's coming into town. We already have flags and a plaque to reflect his connection, and residents think that is enough. The Lib Dem mayor of New Haven, Stephen Saunders, said all the money for the Vietnam link was coming from the Vietnamese embassy. The money is to do with the cultural, educational, economic, and tourism links that Vietnam have proposed and that we have signed up to, he said. The red herring that is being thrown around is that we are going to have a Ho Chi Minh statue in the town is just absolute nonsense. The competition to design a memorial celebrates these cultural educational links, not Ho Chi Minh. And that's the end of that. So even though, of course, the Lib Dem is like, no, we don't want Ho Chi Minh here, but these are red herrings. Two sides of the same coin. Conservatives, liberals, they're all liberal ideology. If you've been watching this show for a long time, you may know what I mean by that. And I don't mean, liberal the way Republicans in America say, because Republicans are liberals. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you stick around for this week's bonus episode. I'm going to record after I let my camera charge for a minute. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to catch you next time. Bye.